Welcome to part two. We should be joined by Kent shortly. Women loving, men want to play pool with him. All right, he's the most eligible bachelor in Belfast. How are you doing, Kent?
All right, Russell. How's it going?
I'm all right, mate. Right, let's get stuck in here on part two. Where's everybody gone here? Here we are.
So we were talking about the heavyweight division there, and you were saying to me, I actually look at the heavyweight division and I think it's an absolute mess. Like a
Yeah.
mess. Yeah, well, I'll go through it here. Anthony Joshua, rinsed. Joseph Parker, awful. Tyson Fury, on his last legs. You've Michael Hunter piped up again. You've Martin Bakoli, who's 21 stone. You've Dillian White, who's shot to pieces. Derek Chisora's 42 and has had 100 losses.
Zhang,
You've got Kulap Pulev, who what age is Kubra
he's
Pulev?
about 43, isn't he? And same as
He's about
Zhang.
43. He's one of them stupid belts. He's actually fighting on a Don King show. Jared Anderson was smashed up by obviously Bacoli. Andy Ruiz is fat as a pig. Frank Sanchez has already been beaten. Joe Joyce is done. Big Pharmacy Miller's a multiple time drugs cheat and actually a scumbag. Tony Yoka, the gold medalist, who is probably the worst heavyweight gold medalist ever to turn pro. David Adelaide throws two punches around and is with Adam Booth. Fraser Clark was put to planet Jupiter. Otto Wallen, is basically turned up in shape, looked like he was wet toilet paper. It's bloody awful. The only names I look at the heavyweight division that coming through is Bogadir Jalamov, who beat Wilder for the gold medal, and you have Richard Torres Jr. Outside of that, you've got Hergovich, who I don't rate, and you have Afe Jagba, who isn't great. Gassiev is a cruiserweight. You've probably somebody like Lawrence Okoli, who could probably do a bit of damage because he's a massive puncher. There's nothing much there. There's no depth there, Russell.
I don't know. What about if Fabio gets beat this week, and what do you think will happen with him? Right.
I think it's that there's fights out there that like you have Martin Bacoli there. You have somebody like Bacoli there. You've a Jagba. You've Chisora. You've Pulev. You've always somebody to fall back on that you can get a win. It's not like years ago if you got a bad loss at heavyweight. If you got a bad loss at heavyweight 20 year ago, you would have had to go down to a 50, 100 guy, between ranked between 150, three or four fights at that level, and then step up. Now it's okay to jump down to top 15, top 25 and pick up an easy win. That's how poor the depth is in the heavyweight division. Really poor. Really poor. Moses as well. For me, I see Moses getting actually really lazy. And I see him just winding up shots
It
from
looks
his
soft in
hips.
his body, doesn't it, for a 20-year-old? Do you think?
I think he's just getting to the point now where he knows he can throw shots from anywhere and land shots. But when he steps up to the likes of Usyk and Dubois, he's not going to be able to do that. So I think him fighting at the level he's at now, they need to get him out of that level because he's not improving. He's just getting kind of more comfortable at that level. When you get comfortable fighting at that level, when you step up to world level, there's a massive gap there.
Well, he's
I
going
think
into
they
every
need to move.
single fight knowing he's going to win, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they need to move him on as quick as possible
Yeah.
now. But it's hard to do that because there's no real depth there for him.
Mm, I know. I know. It's a bit warm in here. Sun's out.
You look
How's your
at
mum,
their
Kent? All
like,
right.
yeah, she's great, Russell. Thanks. She's great, thanks.
He's still not don't go out for a pint of that, Kent, now.
I'm just busy working and training, and I was actually away at Scotland last week playing football,
Are you a
and
footballer, Kent, as well as a runner?
yeah, I don't run as much now. I play a bit of football.
Yeah. I didn't. What
Yeah,
position are you, Kent?
goalkeeper.
You're a goalie, are you?
Yeah, yeah, I'm a goalkeeper.
You're the Mervyn Day of Ireland, of Northern Ireland, are you?
No, I was away in Scotland last week and playing in Falkirk. I was playing in a 35 tournament, no, a 40s tournament.
What, 40-year-old man plus?
Yeah, it was a tournament called the Lava Cup. It was a
Did you
really
let
good
any in
tournament.
net, Kent?
I only conceded 2 goals in the whole tournament. Uh,
Yeah.
we got beaten penalties in the semi-final, so was
Oh, did they
gutted with
score
that.
five by you, Kent, in penalty shootout?
Well, it was a seven-a-side tournament. Went to pen, so they were hitting them from like 5 yards. It's really hard to save a pen from 5 and 6 yards, like, but it was a great trip. I'm looking forward to next year.
God, you were talking then about that tournament, Ken, like it were Euros.
Well, what a win, Russell! Not turning up for a silver spoon, Russell.
Did you go any minute? Did you go any minibus to Scotland then, Kent? We all team.
We got a flight over. We got an early flight over, and then we got picked up at the airport
Ken,
and
do
on
you
the
like
bus.
playing cards on table? Do you know like they do on day at cup final when the magic of the cup. I used to be up there in the morning like with my crisps and Mars bar, and my can of pop. I'd be watching all day 9 a.m. on grandstand, and when players who in coach and that going to Wembley with cameras and that, they all play cards on coach. Is that what you were doing,
No,
Ken? Your teammate?
no, what my teammates were like. My teammates were like the England team in
Boozing.
Italian 90, babysitting Paul Gascoigne. That's what they were like.
Are they?
I was just completely hyper the whole time.
Okay. Amir Khan's come out this morning and he said that Usyk beats Daniel Dubois even easier this time. Now he's computerized what he needs to do.
Well, he didn't do it the last time. He didn't, what's he talk? Is he watching the same fight?
Well, Amir Khan's just said Usyk wins it rematch. I thought he won first one, didn't he?
Won the first one easy, absolutely easy. I think he's right. I think this time, everyone's high on Daniel Dubois because of what he done to Joshua.
Yeah, but what you're forgetting here is let's just go back, right? Since he quit, he's beat Ergovic, a big stiff, a plank of wood, a Tom Dallas type guy. He's beat Miller, a 24 stone fat man. And he's beat Joshua, who's shot to shit. That's it, Kent. But they're talking about him now like he's on the run of his life because you've got Juggiers Spencer Oliver on Talksport constantly, day in, day out, bigging up Don Charles and Daniel Dubois. Now, Juggiers, I know you're watching, so listen to this, kid. If that was any other heavyweight who'd beat these sort of level guys, you would come out and speak the truth. You'd say, Joshua's shot, Miller's a fat man, and Ergovic's a big stiff. That's what you'd say, Juggy is, but you're not going to do because Joshua's your pal, and you're always going to hang around for crumbs around him. Don Charles is your pal, and you love to be eating corner with Dubois, getting a few quid, so you're keeping him sweet. And that's just how it is, isn't it? It's favours for favours. It's all too in-house and a bit comfy for me. Do you know what I mean? Talk sport. Because you've got people constantly doing favours for certain people in industry. And who's to say that these people are not getting looked after for doing this? Because we're talking about the same 30, 40 people on Talksport every day, but there's a few thousand people in country that fight, isn't there, boxers, and then you've got all the teams and that, but it's the same old 30, 40 people, isn't it? It's becoming fucking boring now. But
Well,
these people are like going in, it's like Gary Neville and Roy Keane going into bat for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, isn't it? Do you remember? And it just kept going on
yeah.
and on and on, didn't they? But have you noticed if it's any other manager, they want them gone, don't they?
Uh, to be honest with you, Russell, the Ole Gunnar had United second place and third place. Uh, they beat City. They both beat City more times than any other manager. From that manager, Manchester United has been a disaster. Now, I could be here all day talking about this, so I'm not going to get into it. So, you know what, Russell? I'm going to say something now, right? That nobody else says in talk sport, including Jug Ears and
Okay.
everybody else on the channels. Is Don Charles even the trainer of Daniel Dubois? Because he's only there because Daniel Dubois' dad calls all the shots.
It should have been Mark Tibbs training him, but the old man got involved. So Mark and his dad did the best thing.
Don Charles is only there because he's a yes man.
Okay. Uh, Speaking of Mark Tibbs, Terry's been outspoken and caused a few ripples in industry regarding Mark Tibbs and Johnny Fisher, saying that there should have been a better game plan. But there's two sides to the coin that you can look at this. Do you think Mark Tibbs had a say in taking that Allen fight, or do you think people overruled him?
Listen. See, Johnny Fisher could be put in with Alexander Usyk tomorrow, right? It's
Yeah.
nothing to do with Mark Tibbs. Mark Tibbs is a trainer. You've got you've got basically his dad running around, stealing all the limelight, making everything about him. Eddie Hearn looking ticket sales. Eddie Hearn has no ticket sellers now in Matchroom.
Mhm.
So they're going to go with the financially more viable option. It's nothing to do with Mark. Mark Tibbs had no say in. This is what I would say. Mark Tibbs would have had no say whatsoever in that fight against Dave Allen. Now, what I will say is, I don't think the tactics were right with with Johnny Fisher, and I'll tell you why. They complained on Talksport all that week on iFilm, IFL, Stomping, all them crap boxing channels. And basically, they were saying that the last time Dave Allen was constantly hitting Johnny Fisher behind the head, right? Any damage that Dave Allen done in that fight was in the inside. So in this fight, their plan was to go inside and work on the inside whenever that was the success of Dave Allen. All Dave Allen's success came the last time was in close, punching around the side, punching up through the middle, and that's what caused all the problems. This time they went in and stood there. It should have been probably at mid range, and if he's getting hit, he holds and he moves. For me, I thought the game plan was well wrong. All Dave Allen had to do in that fight was get close to Johnny Fisher, throw the punches around the guard and up the middle. That's all he had to do. It was simple. All Johnny Fisher had to do was keep him at mid range and be safe at mid range. I thought they did get it wrong. To be fair,
Mm.
watch the fight. You just have to watch
Watch
the
this.
first
He
fight and the
won
second
first
fight.
4 rounds, did he, though? Fisher.
Doesn't matter. It wasn't about for Dave Allen. It wasn't about winning rounds. It was about getting the opportunity to get 3 and 4 big shots off on the inside. That's all he had to do. Dave Allen was conserving energy and bluffing rounds, knowing that 5 and 6 rounds, from that onwards, Johnny Fisher was going to leak a lot of energy. Why was he leaking a lot of energy? He, you could see he was very tentative and getting hit. Listen, at any fight, Russell, it's really hard to box the perfect game plan every single round. especially against a guy that who's dropped you, and you should have got a decision last time. Very difficult to do that.
Okay. David Adelaide, and Dave Allen. What have you got if they fight?
I think it's a terrible fight. I think it's a brutal fight. I think it's
Yeah.
the brutal fight. Yeah, David Adelaide only throws two punches around,
So does Dave Allen.
and so does Dave Allen. I think it's an awful fight. I think it's a bloody terrible fight. I wouldn't want to watch it.
Okay. Uh, Fury Joshua. Do you think that's dead now?
Go on, see ya.
They keep piping it up every 6 months, don't they?
I'm bored of it.
Yeah. Usyk Dubois is the fixing.
If it goes to points, you don't want to go to points. You really can't afford to go to points. I hope not. I hope not.
Okay. Will Johnny Fisher end up a doorman in about 2 years?
No, because his dad's too much money and he's got an education. It's all this crap again about working class and this and that. He went to university. He's probably come had a silver spoon his whole life. No, no, definitely not.
Okay. Eddie's stable. He's got
Non-existent.
three in the top £10 for pound. J.O. Patia, Bam Bam Rodriguez, and Bivol. After that, it's a bit Fred, but I know he's got Stevenson, Nunes, Hitchins, and Ennis, but who's he got from Britain apart from Joshua and Ben and Terry Harper and Katie Taylor?
His international stadia, his stable is doing well, but the UK wise commercially, and Terry Harper is in and out. She's fighting in other shows. It's very, very difficult. I think what I see happening next is they just have to go with big fights. I think I could see Conor Benn probably fighting Haney or Garcia next.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Terry Harper's just had a win against a woman 43-year-old on a GMB show. What do you think to that?
Bloody terrible. That goes to show that the stable has really thinned down. I don't really see Terry featuring much on Matchroom. I see her going to, if she's going to feature, you look at the amount of the lady female fighters have went and signed with Jake Paul and his promotion. If she's looking to do anything and make money, she would have to go with Jake Paul. So she would, and fighting for Matchroom and fighting that level of opposition, fighting that type of opposition with that zero name brand value. There's zero money in that whatsoever. She'll have to go and sign with Jake Paul's business because
Okay.
he has got all the fighters. So if you look outside that pot of fighters, there's nobody there for the fight. Nobody.
Well, I'm sure if Terry feels like she needs to go sign with Jake Paul, I'm sure she will. Because Savannah hasn't she?
Yeah, it's the only way she's going to get fights.
Katie Taylor Serrano, 39-year-old against a 37-year-old in a trilogy 17th of July. You looking forward to it, Ken?
It's uh, it's not a fight that I'm really excited about, to be honest with you. And I do admire Katie Taylor and what she's done for Irish boxing, but I'm not gonna get up at 4 in the morning to watch it.
Rest your head is stable. Johnny Fisher, Hooney, Crocker, Donovan, Ben and Joshua, Terry Harper, Katie Taylor. It's not what it were, is it? Eddie's stable. Now, he ain't got a world champion, has he, male from UK?
It's very thin. You notice the last couple of years that his investment in you just need to go and look at the amount of UK shows he's put on in the last couple of years. It's not there. He doesn't care about the UK market. That's the market he started off in. He started with. You look at Frank. Frank is developing better talent. Even Sky's you know, you look at the fighters that's coming through. You know, obviously with Frank, you know, you have good fighters like Jack Rafferty coming through, really good fighter. You look at Adam Azim coming through at Sky. You look at Pierce O'Leary coming through at Queensbury. So they're developing fighters coming through. Eddie doesn't have that at the minute. He's going to need to. I think the last couple of years he's been so focused on Joshua and Conor Ben. They've kind of took their eye off the ball when the likes of Frank Warren had been signing really good standard of amateurs coming through that do sell tickets but actually can't fight. It's where Matchroom have been more interested in international field where what's going to sell them the most amount of money and tickets in UK is UK shows where I think that the money there and you know look at the type of shows they're putting on like Sabam and that there and Jay Apatai they're not exactly selling out worldwide arenas like UK boxing would be so I think they need I think what Matchroom need Russell is a complete reset.
Okay. Well, they still promote Zelfa Barrett, but obviously I think he's managed by Steve Wood, trained by Joe Gallagher, but they weren't giving Zelfa Barrett the fights, and Eddie's coming out saying Josh Taylor, well, it's his own fault, inactive and all that, but Zelfa's been inactive, hasn't he? And that were down to matching, wasn't it, really? Because, you know, did you hear about the incident with Pat Barrett and Frank Smith? Did you hear about that? Oh, funny, did you?
It's okay,
Oh,
Eddie, to
Pat
come on and
Barrett.
moan
Whoa, Pat.
and moan about fighters. You know, Eddie's never threw a punch in his life. Josh Taylor had a really bad injury for a year and a half, which kept him out of the ring. So
Mm.
you know, you look at even like say Aggo Esserman coming through, and we spoke about him 4 years ago. We've been speaking about him for quite a long time now, Russell.
Lads on commission were speaking about him a few years ago, Echo Estiman, fighting Conor Ben and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And he's just been and done Taylor, hasn't
Even before them guys come on the channel, Russell, we were talking about him, you know, 4 years ago. You know, so that's at that time when Eddie was kind of putting all his eggs in his literally no pun intended with Conor Ben and Joshua, Frank Warren's and the sitting, you know, building fighters, putting fighters in smaller shows, you know, your call, copper box, undercards and building them up. Look at them now. Look at them now. Look at that stable of fighters now, Russell.
he? Yeah, I know. It's not good, is it? It's
What
not
did
good.
you think of Anthony Kakachi's performance against Lee Wood?
I thought he was just brilliant. Did you?
You know what? It's a performance that doesn't shock me because I've known about Anto a long time. You know, in boxing circles that I'm in and over here. You know, it's no shock that what Anto was doing right now in his career. He always was an elite level fighter. He always had elite level talent. You know, he's a real special fighter. You know, he basically won every second of every round against Lee Wood. Now, I know Andy from the channel. I don't know what fight he was watching. He actually said on his channel that he fought uh, Lee Wood box really well. I don't know. I don't know what he meant by that because you know, Lee Wood, you know, obviously Anthony Kakachi was so dominant in that fight. He smashed him. He won every second of every round. So I don't know what he meant by that. You know, that he fought Lee Wood box well. I think now it's really going to be difficult for Anto to get really big fights because he's so good and he's so dangerous.
Okay. Would you like to see Adrian King, Curtis Woodhouse's guy, fight Johnny Fisher? Do you think that'd be a close one? I think that's about the level Johnny Fisher's at.
He needs to go down and fight at domestic, low domestic level and get experience. He needs to be fighting. He needs to be fighting guys 5 and 6 and 0 at a similar stage of his career than get in with a seasoned fighter that's sparred with every fighter and fought the likes of Lewis Ortiz, Dillian White, David Price. He's fought good fighters, so I think he just needs to go and get. I think they need to take him off TV and they need to put him around non-televised fights and get experience that way. Because when you're thrust, he's basically been thrust into the limelight with a crappy gimmick, and his dad running around like a slob, embarrassed himself eating Chinese and being on billboards. It's more than that. You need to be able to fight, and until it's kind of like Campbell Hatton Mark II. Like Matchroom have made a lot of mistakes the last couple of years with elite level fighters matchmaking, managing them away from boxing, and matchmaking young fighters coming through. It's been an absolute disaster. UK boxing, disaster.
Tomorrow night, Josh Kelly fights at 154. What do you think about the noise about we might call Beefy out this weekend? Beefy
Oh,
Smith.
come on, Russell, come on. Look, did they not watch that last fight?
I know.
Why are they not? Why is he not calling out one of the mechanics? Why not
Well, that's all right. Goes
call him out?
Sauerlands. He's with Sauerlands, isn't he?
So they know now that probably Beefy has no deal with Sky or Frank Warren or the
Eddie.
Zone because he lost that fight. He's probably a free agent. He didn't win a second to that round. Josh Kelly's got no name brand value whatsoever, like none,
Mm.
and they're looking to get him name brand value. That's all they're looking to do. Fighting a fighter at Beefy's stage of his career right now, it doesn't develop your career in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Uh, Felix Cash is out as well, apparently, tomorrow night, so that's good. Do you think Paul Smith's become too vocal now regarding Beefy and Callum, and especially Callum and Tunde, and trying to get involved with beef and all this? And he's here, there, and everywhere in interviews now. Paul Smigger Smith, aka Big Tits. So, do you feel that he's become too vocal and that he's putting himself out there as this like expert?
Well, you don't see him on any platform doing commentary, do you? His Bake is absolutely tripping him all the time. I watch an interview of him and I look him on TV. I just get hit with depression. So
He
I do.
annoys
So
me. You know who annoys me most? Him
it
or
gives me
Stephen Jones. I
depression.
can't decide.
I actually get depression listening to his interviews. I can't stand him. Thought he was a good fighter, but I just think his personality doesn't come across. He's just too negative. He's just too miserable.
What about Yard versus Smith? Callum Smith. Who you got if that happens?
I think Callum Smith would smash him.
I do. I do. And you got Tunde there on top, sort of screaming and shouting about how good Yard is. Yard's best win's Lyndon Arthur on points, isn't it? That's his best win.
Yard's best performances was pre-COVID 5 years ago. Like pre-COVID, there was hype around him, there was energy around him, there was excitement around him. It's not there now. It's I think he needed a change after the Better BF loss. I think he needed to move on and try something else. Now I know I've always backed Tunde with him. I thought he'd done a good job with him, getting him into a position to fight for a world title. But I think the decision making the last 2 years has been awful. And
What?
his last performance on his performance before last on Sky was absolutely dreadful. Like he near lost a European Eurobum. Like
Yeah.
awful, awful. I see Callum Smith doing him in about 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, smashing him.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. Let's have a look. we'll finish off on this, Kent. We'll finish off on this. A lot of boxers, they get into the sport, they make a lot of money, and then they start these YouTube channels. They start wanting to be their own PR man and stuff like that. Do you think a lot of boxers should concentrate, those that are still fighting, on being fighters and not too much social media?
Absolutely. It started, what started this? This started with Fraser Clark when Sky had nobody. And they brought Fraser Clark in as a personality and a presenter on Sky when he was just turning pro. And I'm thinking, but build him as a fighter first. Build a fighter. You know, I don't mind somebody like Natasha Jonas doing it, who's coming probably end of her career. You've got seasoned ex champions there. You've maybe a guest speaker coming in as a champion. I don't mind that, but boxing used to be about selling tickets. Now it's about social media, and I think there's a massive swerve. There's a massive shift now happening where you see guys who actually can't fight getting opportunities over guys who have ABA wins. They have European medals, championship medals, and amateurs. Now it's about what's this guy's social media following? Get him on. I think it's bloody awful. I think boxing now is there's a massive, as I say, shift towards pedigree. It's more about numbers than pedigree. It's if you can fight, you fight, but I think you should be spending more time resting and training and sparring and doing crappy social media videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Ken, thanks for coming on. It's been great to see you. I hope you're well. What you got planned for the rest of the day?
I have work in 45 minutes, so I'm going to get ready for work.
After shift day, Kent.
Late shift, finish work at 10:30.
Okay. Well, listen, you have a great day and give your man my best.
Keep on trucking, Russell. All the best, bro.
Keep supporting boxing. Don't have nightmares, Kent.
Peace out.
Peace out, kid. Pop, pop, bang. Well, that was Kent from Northern Ireland. I got that right that time, didn't I? Women want his phone number. Men just want to take him out for a game of snooker. That's about it. Goalkeeper Kent. Kent, I'm going to tell you about a good book. I don't know who wrote it. It's the first book I ever wrote. I ever read. First book I ever read when I was in junior school, and it's called The Goalkeeper's Revenge. Let me see if I can find it on here. The Goalkeeper's Revenge. Let's have a look. I will see if I can get it on Kimbo because were you telling me you're a goalkeeper, Kent? Let's have a look. Have we got enough time here? Right. The Goalkeeper's Revenge book. The Goalkeeper's Revenge and Other Stories. Yeah, here we go. This is it. It's on Amazon. Isn't that funny that? I read that in the late 70s. Here we are, The Goalkeeper's Revenge by Bill Norton. £1.20 paperback, Kent. Hey? Oh my God. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was the custom for lads to gather at the street corner on summer evenings and discuss trolleying. Spit Nolan was the champion trolley rider. He had a very good balance, sharp wits, and he was very brave. Set in the 1930s. That has been when they made trolleys out of prams. We used to do that in the 70s as kids where I'm from. The Goalkeeper's Revenge, Old Kent, eh? The Gary Bailey of Northern Ireland. Anyway, thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. I might be having someone else on later on today. I'm not sure who. We'll have to go through and see who's available. So, okay. So, thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. All right. Well, peace out. Thanks for sharing videos as well. And trolls, keep the comments coming. But if you want to come on, you have to email me and tell me when you are available. All right. You can't just say, let's do it now, like Sam Jones. Sam Jones, you're never going to ever get on here ever again. Not that you've been on, but you'll never ever get an opportunity to come on here. Because you can't just get in touch and say, I'm ready, let's go now, pork. Can't do that. All right. Okay. So trolls are welcome on here. We'll have a special troll day, but you got to show your face and I want to see what you look like in your mum's spare bed. Go on, get gone. Hop, hop, bang. Peace out. Got Big Richard coming on as well. Ooh, ah, booyah.